how sick are you of losing close games to Collingwood here?
I think in general, I think especially on the weekend, I wouldn't say we necessarily played our best footy, but I think we gave ourselves an opportunity to win the game. And small moments probably cost us, and I think that's what's really disappointing. So we'll obviously look at that a little bit more today, and our focuses this year have been really trying to learn from these things and how we can get better, and it's more of a continued growth, continued improvement type of situation than rather just the 1 week and obviously just sitting with a disappointment with that. So,
why do you think you didn't play your best footy on Saturday?
I think there's probably a few things. I don't know necessarily if. I think I look at the conditions were obviously tough, but as well you also play such a good side in Collingwood. I think personally. Obviously, wider community, we respect Collingwood and what they've been able to do, especially this year, and the players that they've got. But personally, I really do think they're kind of the benchmark at the moment. I think they've played some really good footy, and when you play these type of games, it's you rely on contests, you rely on these little moments that we didn't necessarily get right throughout the day, and I think they did. They took a lot of their opportunities. They kicked a big goal outside 50. They kicked a couple of goals from the boundary. They pressure inside 50. I think they kicked a couple from the goal square as well. So, they just I think they got a few of those little things right, and more so than us on the weekend, and we have to live with that, unfortunately, and that's footy.
Is that part of them being a more experienced side, especially in the finals? Being more experienced in finals kind of games, having that winning kind of experience in a way.
Look, I don't, probably not. Personally, this is how I feel right now. I looked to the week before in the showdown where we had a similar game. It came to those little moments, and I probably felt like we got them right the week before. I think we had a few little costly mistakes like free kicks and 50 metres where we just let them off the hook, and they were able to punish us from those, and we probably weren't able to do the same on the opposite end. So these are the little things that obviously you need to get right in these kind of closer, tighter games. That's probably where most of the disappointment comes from, to be honest.
Were you a bit too tall maybe going in, especially in the forward line, given the conditions, given how wet it ended up being?
Yeah, it's interesting. Probably personally, I had no issues with the lineup going in. I think what the boys forward of the ball have been able to do this year, especially. I don't really feel like that. I think the first half especially wasn't that wet. Is how, especially the first quarter. There's obviously some times, and it got really slippery in the second half. But I think, I don't really think so, to be completely honest. No.
Can I just ask, Mitch, you kind of touched on it a bit in the first answer about the overall feeling around the loss, but it does feel like there's a bit of a mindset change this year. You guys know you can compete with the best, and you've already got the 6 wins on the ladder. Is that how it feels this year, that, hey, it's not just the one loss, it's that you beat those big teams, and that can represent something even more?
Yeah, I think so. I think with what we've shown this year as our best footy, I think honestly we can, when we produce that, we're going to be a strong team or a very hard team to beat. And in those closer games, as I said, we're going out there and we're looking to win. We probably always have, but I feel like we've got a little bit more experience that we've grown throughout the year. I know that's been harped on with the kind of inclusions, and the younger boys especially, their game's improving as well. And I think I'm really positive on where the group's heading and where we're at. There's always going to be things that you want to do better and you want to get right. But yeah, look, we're keen to go forward, and we're keen to learn from our mistakes, and it's only going to hold us in good stead if that's our mindset, and we're just wanting to improve.
How about the away form, Hinge? Is it sort of hard to deny that that's become a bit of a trend over the last couple of years? I think you're 6-18 against, or on the road, and 3 of those losses are against bottom 3 teams. So
yeah, that's, again, it's probably a funny one. I think I guess what do? We look at this year, and we had that really close one against Gold Coast. And we see the quality of opposition they're in at the moment, and that's probably one we would have liked to have still as well. And then on the weekend, you look at Collingwood, who are also such a good side. I think personally, I don't know if it's trends and stuff obviously exist, but I don't necessarily look too too far back. Sorry, with with how our form necessarily has been on the road. I think we're probably a little bit of a different side, and we also haven't been the strongest side in previous years. So we're looking to win more games, and I feel like we're in the spot to win these games. And whether or not it's the away stuff, I'm not too sure, but obviously we're quite a quality side at Adelaide Oval as well. So
So it's not something you've addressed so much this year. You're away, or how you process when you're on the road.
Yeah, I think it's obviously something we talk about. Like we talk about, Nixie's obviously pretty big on boys. We're over there for a job, and we're over there to get the 4 points. And what are the things personally you're doing at home, or what are the things we can do as a group to set ourselves up in a good spot to win these games? And as I said before, I feel like we've probably had opportunities, and I think especially looking at the game on the weekend, I don't think maybe being away is the reason we probably lost the game. I think it was more done with a few of those kind of more the little stuff, like getting the free kicks right and things like that. So it's disappointing, but it is what it is.
You're always going to go into a clash with the Eagles as heavy favourites, but does them getting a rare win yesterday sort of remind you that you still need to be on your game in any game in this competition?
Yeah, I think it's probably, we say it every year and we say it every week, how tight the competition is. But I think, I don't know, this year especially just feels a little bit different. It does feel like things are really tight. And I think not necessarily us, but all across the competition this year, you've seen, heavy favourites lose and whatever else. And if you don't come with your right mentality or your right footy, then things can go the other way. So I think that's probably something we've done really, really well this year, is just focus on the coming week. And this week will be no different. We've, West Coast brings some quality stuff to when they're playing really well, and we'll look to counter that and play our footy and see how we can go there. So, again, it's going to be a good test, good opportunity for us to keep building what we're trying to build, and that's probably the mentality we're going to go in with, I think.
It must be a big tick. Some of the criticism this year has been around an inability to stop, the opposition's very best midfielders, to limit Nick Dacos in the way that you were able to. That must be a big tick, for that midfield group in particular. Yeah,
I think so. I think the boys have been challenged pretty hard this year. They've obviously had some really solid games as a group, and some games where they probably would have liked to have done a few things different. I think it was it's funny we talk about Nick Dacos. Obviously, he's such a classy operator. He's such a good player, and he probably wasn't as moving as best as he would have liked to on the weekend. But I think it is a big win for the group. I think the boys inside were really strong on the weekend, and Big Rob was good as well, I thought, and but having a real presence around the ground. So. We just got to keep pushing forward. We've got to keep trying to try a few different things and keep giving ourselves the opportunity to get the ball forward and get our classy forwards a shot at putting the game away.
There's always plenty to focus on whether Tech is going to be arrested and that sort of thing. I know you won't be able to talk to that, but heading into the West Coast game, and then you've got a 6-day break leading into Sydney. When it comes to managing type of players, are those things, particularly veterans, are those things usually worked out in weeks in advance, like in the pre-season sometimes? Like, how does that sort of work? I know you can't talk to whether he'll be rested or not.
Yeah, to be honest, I actually wouldn't have a clue. It'd be nice to say that, one day I'm going to find myself and I'm going to be playing at 36 and every, fifth week I'm rested. But to be honest, if you talk to Tex, he's feeling really, really good about how he's, how he's feeling physically and mentally. And I'm probably one that stands a bit taller when he's out there and he's commanding the boys. So I don't think so. I think it's probably more on a week-to-week basis and how the boys are going. And, Burjo and the team go through a crazy amount of numbers, and we always laugh with them about all the stuff that they get from us. So I dare say they look into all that and, the GPS stuff and et cetera, et cetera. So I can't really speak on that. But, no, I know for one that I definitely enjoy having someone like Tex and the older boys out there. They bring a wealth of knowledge and experience, and so, yeah.
Just a broader one, mate, of the tragic passing of Adam Selwood, there's been calls for a mental health round. Do you think that type of thing is necessary. Obviously, you've got Spud's game and things like that, but to draw an even greater light given instances like this.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I think mental health in society is obviously like a really important topic to talk about. It's it's sad what we've learnt over the weekend, but it's also sad what people are dealing with every day and every week, and there seems to be a different story all the time, and and men's health as well. I think it's obviously it's an issue in society, and we can't ignore that. So, I'm probably not the one to talk about what's the right and wrong thing to do, but I think some light does need to be shed on, trying to help the problem and trying to fix it, because it's extremely sad for the families and the friends and what everyone has to go through. So. I think it would be definitely, it's something we can look at being a positive, I think, and so yeah.
Does it rail you as a player when it isn't, and someone, one of your ex-cohort, when something like that happens and you're not the only one? And do you sort of seek, do you chat about it amongst the playing group and almost make sure that everyone's going okay?
Yeah, I think it's obviously something like that has come a long way with, I guess, probably the guy or the blokey thing that we talk about, and conversations like that are happening, and just on the weekend when you hear news like that, and the you're talking throughout the playing group or the boys, and the natural response or the response from the boys is always how sad and and how something kind of needs to happen. I think throughout society we need to probably be a little bit more empathetic on everyone in the wider community. So whatever that looks like, I think is, it's obviously an important spot to look into, I think, yeah.
Within the league, do you think there's enough mental health support for players and staff?
I think personally, I think the AFL do a really good job at, accommodating players. And I know here at the Crows, we've got an amazing kind of group that we can lean on. We've got some psychologists that are really, really good. And I think personally as well, we've also got a really strong group that, if the time comes where someone needs to lean on you or anything like that, I think, we're building something really, really special. So that's something I'm really proud of here at the Crows. And, but yeah, it's obviously really, really sad on what people are going through out there.